Today on Pro Church Daily, we're talking about an advanced communications tip, how to preemptively respond to people's objections.
Well, hey there. Welcome to Pro Church Daily, the show where in 10 minutes or less you'll get your daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years. I'm your host, Max Thrills, joined as always by the boss man. It's Brady Shearer, and today we're talking about an advanced church communications tip, preemptively responding to objections.
What I'm about to share on this episode of Pro Church Daily is an advanced copywriting and communication tip. And if you can master this, you can dramatically see more next steps in your church. And this idea, this advanced communications tip, and it is advanced. It takes a while to master. It takes a lot of work. But again, if you can do it, the results can be huge. It's all about finding a way to preemptively respond to people's objections.
Okay.
And this works in your church within a sermon, when you're trying to convince people, explain the Bible. When we're talking about existential matters, there are so many objections that are popping up into people's minds. So this works within sermons from stage. It also works within your giving and offering messages. It works when you're asking people to volunteer and sign up. Really, anytime you're asking for a next step, anytime you're asking for a commitment from someone within your church, there will be objections that stand in the way of that commitment and next step taking place.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you want to preemptively respond to those objections. Think about this. Let's start here. What is your conversion rate at your church? Maybe it's 10%. And when I say conversion rate, I mean how many people take a next step when you ask them to. So if there are 100 people in your church and you do an announcement saying, hey, sign up to volunteer for kids ministry, maybe you get 5%, maybe 10%. Maybe your church is the greatest church of all time and you see 20%.
Yep.
Even those numbers, let's say 20%, unheard of. That still means 80% of the people are choosing not to take that next step and are denying that action. And so this all comes down to objections. If you're sitting there and I ask from stage, hey, we really need people to sign up for kids ministry. If you want to sign up, go to our nucleus. For the 80%, 90%, 95% that don't do that, they have objections in their head that they are using to validate them not taking those next steps. Objections like, I can't afford that. I don't have that time. That's for someone else. That's not for me.
Right.
And so you as a communicator want to preemptively acknowledge those objections, talk about and invalidate them, and that will lead to more next steps taking place. And so let's talk about 3 different fixes for acknowledging, confronting, and resolving these objections to see more next steps at your church.
Okay.
Fix number 1 is confront the objection. So this is the most simple. So you say, we need volunteers for kids ministry. If you want to go sign up, go to the nucleus. We're looking for 10 new volunteers to help one Sunday every single month.
I'm thinking to myself, I don't have that kind of time.
So what you say is, you explicitly say this, we're looking for 10 volunteers that'll work one Sunday a month. Now, you might be thinking, I just don't have that kind of time. You explicitly confront the objection. So we do this in our sales copy. We'll be like, you might be thinking, nucleus, that's not going to work for my church.
Right.
And then we talk about all the different churches that it's working for to resolve that objection, to object to that objection, basically. So you can say exact phrases like, you might be wondering, ... Now, you might be thinking, ... That's
a good one.
And then you come in and you object to the objection. And the reason that you're trying to do this is that it forces someone to make a choice rather than make an excuse.
Right.
When you object to someone's objection in a real way, you can't come in and just say, you might be thinking you don't have time, but you do. Okay, that's not an actual way of resolving the objection. But when you can find a way to preemptively respond to someone's objection, they're thinking it in their head, and then you immediately acknowledge what they're thinking, and you object to that objection. Now they're forced with a dilemma. Okay, I've got to make a choice. Do I want to help my church? I know that objection has been nullified, or do I want to just make an excuse and not do it?
Yeah.
In their mind, their objection is valid. So they're not making a choice. They are finding a way to absolve themselves from that choice altogether. You find a way to resolve the objection, and now they are forced to make the decision. So that's the fix number 1, confront the objection. Fix number 2 is to confront the rejection. We talked about the number of people that don't take next steps. So here's an example. Let's say only 50% of people at Hope Church, a hypothetical church, give regularly. Let's say 1 out of 2 gives regularly. If 20 of those people started giving in the church, let's say hypothetically, let's say that number would jump to 60%. So you could confront the rejection from stage in your communications by saying something like, look, we know that only 1 out of every 2 people at Hope Church give. If we could just see 20 more people give, we could see that number rise to 60%, and that would allow us to accomplish our mission in ways of A, B, and C. Confronting the rejection now acknowledges that it's existing, and it makes your congregation culpable because now they're aware of it.
Right.
If you don't know that rejection is taking place, you can at least go, look, officer, I didn't know what the speed limit was. I'm sorry, and try to get away with that. If you are aware of it, now you are part of the problem, and again, you are now forced with a choice rather than an excuse.
Yeah, and it also directly addresses those people who are rejecting the next step, right? Like the people who are accepting it, they hear that and they're like, yeah, we're giving, it's fine. But the people who don't give hear that louder in a gracious way, but they hear it louder than they would hear just some more indirect language, and they feel personally addressed, like, oh yeah, and they can come up with an action in their mind. Well, yeah, I haven't been giving, but maybe I can be one of those 20, and maybe I can help bring that number up. It's like a personal element, a personal invitation for those people.
Fix number 1 is confront the objection. Fix number 2, confront the rejection. And fix number 3, confront the alternative. Let's go back to the idea of volunteering at church. You could say something like, from the stage or from whatever communication platform you're using, we know volunteering at church can be tough. Maybe you'd rather get the extra 2 hours of sleep on a Sunday morning than come in early. What you do here is...
But your pastor doesn't sleep, so neither should you.
Right. Okay, so avoid the guilt. Because that's not what you want. Yeah. But here you're confronting the alternative. Look, we know that it's not as fun to wake up early, but if you can get past that, you can see real change for God's kingdom, maybe affect someone's eternity through the simple act of just giving up those 2 extra hours. Yeah, it's a sacrifice, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of these confronting the objection, confronting the alternative, confronting the rejection, this all comes down to acknowledging what the people in your church are thinking in their head. And you know what? This isn't going to fix everything.
Of course
People would still rather make an excuse than make a choice. But the problem with not confronting objections is that you're allowing people in their minds to validate their behavior as reasonable, as acceptable. When you confront the objections, it just adds that extra barrier that now they need to leap over. And it's going to push a couple people over the edge. It's going to force them to take action. And even then, if they decide still not to, they're going to know, okay, you know what? There's a better way. Yeah. And I at least know I'm acknowledging, you know what, maybe I just don't have the money to give right now. Maybe I don't have the time. But maybe my excuse is only temporary. Maybe my excuse isn't valid and I don't want to change, but I really feel like I should. I'll change next week and next month. And the more that you acknowledge these, the more change that you see, the more next steps you see. And we're talking about big stuff. We're talking about more giving, more volunteers, more action when the message is shared. These are a big deal.
I love how self-aware all of these are. It's like, we know what you're thinking. Yeah, we know that 50% of us aren't giving. Yeah, we know that you want to sleep for 2 extra hours. It's like, it kind of just breaks down that
Confront it.
barrier.
It's real.
Like, this is happening and this is real and we are asking you to take these next steps for a reason. Like there's something on the other side of this for you. We believe that when you take this next step, it's going to result in life change for you and life change for others. And so, we know, like we've all been there and it kind of just gets everyone on the same level and same page. And really, I think all 3 of these are very actionable and really will inspire people to take next steps.
One bonus tip that I want to add is that you can confront objections by talking about someone else who has found a way to get past those objections. So you can talk about someone who is more busy than the average person, who still volunteers. You can talk about someone who has less disposable income than the average person and still gives. And now you're giving real tangible examples of someone that could make that same objection as you. They're in worse circumstances, and they're still finding a way to get over them. So, one bonus tip to add at the end.
Nice.
I didn't even have that written down.
I love that.
Now I'm just flowing in the word.
I love bonus tips.
That'll do it for today's episode of Pro Church Daily, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you never miss another one.
And if you like this video, come on, you know what to do. Hit the like button.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in another one.
Oh!
Another one.
Oh!
Another one.
All right. Ready? Can I say
another one.
another one.
You going?